Hello everybody, I'm here with the BBQ Legend 1000 D4E. It is one of Z-Grills promotional buy one get 10 deal. It's listed on the website as $877. However, after the shipping and the tax, ends up coming out to $1,022.13, at least for me. It came with a cover and two meat probes that you can see there on the left. Uh, it has four spots for those meat probes, so you can have up to four wired probes that hook up to the Wi-Fi adapter, and you can check that out on the app that allows you to monitor your temperatures. Uh, Came, I think, within about a week. The shipping was actually surprisingly quick. It took me by myself about an hour and a half to 2 hours to assemble and get ready to go. And it was pretty easy to assemble. There's a couple times where it would have been nice to have two people, one person holding something while you're screwing it in, but overall it was very easy. Came with all the tools that you need to actually assemble it, but just as it helps to have a second person, if you have some actual good tools, you can assemble it even quicker. For some of my thoughts on it, the meat probes seem like they're a little bit off. I cooked a couple of different things on it, and it seems like they're maybe 5 to 10 degrees off. So if you're gonna use this grill with the meat probes that come with it, it's a good idea to have an instant read thermometer as well, so you can just double check everything as you're cooking it. The construction on it feels pretty solid. After putting it all together, it's very sturdy. I'm able to move it around pretty easy. Using the shelves to lift up the wheels to get it over a little, going out of my garage, there's a little curb thing. It's easy enough to lift it up with either handle from either side and get it situated. The metal is a little bit thin, and one of the things I did buy for it is smoker felt sealing tape that I put around the lid of the grill itself. It was only like $5 extra, and I got it on Amazon. Very easy to install, especially if you do it before your first smoke, because then it adheres to the stainless steel a lot easier. One thing that I was kind of pleasantly surprised about is that this grill does start up and get to temp very quick. Even with having the door open for the startup, and if you leave it open for a little extra longer, it's not going to hurt anything. But when you close it up, it gets up to temp really quick. I would say within 5 to 10 minutes, you're at the temp for cooking. I started in the world of smoking with two terracotta pots that I drilled some holes in and put some temperature probes in and started smoking on that about 10 years ago. And it was a great introduction into the world of barbecue. However, as I got a real job and started actually making some money, the next thing I upgraded to was the Oklahoma Joe Highland, and that one's been great. I've been using that one for quite a few years, and it's one of the side loader stick burners, and great grill. I love it, and it has performed great for me. I've made some great barbecue on it, and honestly, I love dedicating a day to cooking, some great barbecue and really taking the time to learn and tweak and make sure that everything is exactly how I want it, and just spending the day solely focused on grilling, having a couple beers, playing a couple yard games, and just enjoying myself. But as will happen to many of us, life has gotten a little bit busier, and I don't have as much time to dedicate towards spending an entire day on cooking up a brisket or cooking up some pulled pork and putting 12 to 14 hours into just cooking. That's one of my major drivers on getting a pellet smoker. I've been eyeing the Traegers for a while, and they just seemed a little bit too pricey for me. I didn't think I would get enough use out of it, honestly, to justify it, because I do still love using my Oklahoma Joe and spending the day smoking. But then when I saw the Z-Grill buy one get one 10, I thought it was a scam. And realistically, if they go out of business, it would be, to be honest. But it was too good to pass up, and I figured that even if I just get one or two grills out of it, even if they are substandard to like the Traeger or some of the other high-end pellet grills, if I just get two grills out of it, it would be worth it. I was pleasantly surprised with what I got though. Honestly, I feel like it's a great product. It feels very durable. It feels strong after you have it all put together. I've used it a couple times now, and the performance on it has been just wonderful. I've really enjoyed using it, and it has all the tech that you would expect for a higher end grill, one that you're going to pay a lot more for. I did see some reviews saying that the metal on the main chamber is thin, and that is true. It is a little thin on the main chamber. However, it doesn't really seem to affect its performance. It might go through some more pellets, but in all honesty, especially if you're getting like the Kirkland pellets, or Menards right now has 40-pound bags of pellets that are high quality. I think believe that they're the Pit Boss brand for $13, and you can cook quite a few things with that. It's way cheaper to use than my side loader, because with that I burn through a lot of charcoal, a lot of wood, and this just it works, and it doesn't really use that many pellets per grill. And to be honest, it holds temperature just fine. And I've cooked it a couple times when it's been down in the 50s or even maybe high 40s, and the thing just fires up and gets right up to temperature, no problem. So let's talk about the first cook I did. I did 5 racks of ribs, and then 2 trays of smoked mac and cheese with jalapeno and bacon. This is the inside of it. As you can see, it's got 3 different layers of racks. I checked temperatures as it went up, and there's not too much variance of temperature from the bottom to the top. The bottom is obviously the hottest though. It is a little bit deceptive. It says that you can cook up to 9 racks of ribs. I would say that's not really true, because as you can see in the bottom there's a drip tray. If you try to cook more, you're going to have some of the ribs coming off the side of that drip tray, and you're going to get greased down underneath by the firebox, which, if you don't mind cleaning it out more, that's fine. But if you want it to all go down the drip tray and into the bucket on the side, there's no way that you can cook more than 5 or 6 racks of ribs. You could probably fit 6 utilizing the top as well, but I only did 5 racks of ribs. I did 2 racks of spare ribs and 3 racks of baby back ribs. That seemed to work out pretty well. For that cook, I didn't use the additional probes. I just cooked based off of the feel of the meat. I did use the smoke log that you can see in there. Great addition to the grill. I picked it up on Amazon, I think, for about $5 to $10. It wasn't too expensive. And I think the smoke level using the smoke log as well made it to where it was just about perfect. My wife doesn't really like the overly heavy smoky stuff, so ribs on the Oklahoma Joe she's okay with, but maybe something like pulled pork or brisket, it would be a little too heavy. But in this, with the smoke log, I think that's just about perfect for most meats, for us at least. But it is going to be a little bit less smoky than one of your stick burners or one of your side loaders. Main temperature, really great. Maintain temperature. When I opened up the top to check on things or spray things down, I maybe saw a temperature swing of about 25 degrees, but it got right back up to temperature real quick, and it didn't overshoot too much. It pretty much hit the temperature and then just stopped right there. I use the Kirkland competition blend pellets. They seem to work pretty well on this. I didn't have any feeding issues, fed smooth the entire time, and it was a very clean cook. I did kind of like a 3-3 method. So I did 3 hours uncovered, 3 hours wrapped, and they turned out great. I've tried to tell my family that you don't want the bones literally coming out the bottom of it, but that's how they like it. And barbecue is best the way that you like it. Doesn't matter what everybody else says. So that's the way we do it. And that was about it for the first cook. Second cook, I did a full chicken and spatchcocked it, put it in the bottom rack there, and it did pretty well. That time I did use the built-in probes, and it was reading about 175, but it was not fully cooked. So that's where I'm saying that the temperature on the probes might be a little bit off from what's reality, and that's why I got the instant read thermometer so I could actually probe it a little additionally just to make sure that we're up to temperature on everything. I did have to bake those to finish cooking them, which is unfortunate, but now I've got the instant read thermometer, so shouldn't be any issue from here on out. It did have good smoke flavor, uh, and it was pretty juicy. Everything was good on that. Didn't really have any issues with the second cook after dealing with the temperature issues. Third cook that I did 2 pork butts. To do the 2 pork butts, I did have to take out the center rack because there, as you can see, there's just not enough space in between that bottom rack and the second rack to actually fit anything big. Definitely can do ribs in there. You could do some chickens, but anything over that, it's just not going to fit in there. So you kind of got to take those racks out if you're doing anything bigger. Definitely a brisket, you would have to take those out. For that one, I did use the installed probes and I used my instant read thermometer. That time it was a little bit closer with the installed probes and the instant read thermometer. I was checking it throughout and it was maybe about 5 degrees off. So not too bad. Definitely lets you know when you're in the realm for when you need to actually start looking at it closer. So it's not like they're useless. You can still use them. It's just double check, verify them. For that, it was the first time I've ever cooked a pulled pork or a pork butt the entire way through without it being wrapped, and it turned out great. It was super moist, super juicy. I cooked it, I think it came out to about 10, 11 hours on there, and it just turned out great. Had a little bit of char on some of the outside stuff that was closer to the edge, but it was very minimal, and it was stuff I probably should have just cut off anyways, but I want to leave everything on there. Had a really good smoke ring. Pulled super easy, just with hands, no claws, no forks, anything like that. Just used my hands to pull it apart. And I took it out and let it rest for about 3, maybe 3.5 hours in a cooler with some towels, and just turned out great. Can't talk enough about how good that one came out. That was only my third cook on this, so really it turned out great. Let's talk a little bit of why I picked the 1000 D4E. I picked it partially because of that enclosed bottom that you see there. Been storing the pellets in there, and it works out pretty well for that. And you can put anything else that you want in the bottom there. It also has the extra side handle that works as a table as well over by the smokestack. It has Wi-Fi capability, and it has one of the bigger cooking surfaces and bigger hopper than some of the other grills that are in the buy one get 10. The Wi-Fi is great once you get it set up, and it will auto connect, and then after that, every time you turn it on, it automatically connects to your Wi-Fi, and you can control it on your phone and monitor it anywhere. I've been, an hour and a half away from the house and been able to just pop on, look and see what the temperature probes are reading, see what the temperature on the grill is, make sure everything's all good. And it also has Bluetooth, but I haven't used that yet. I've only used the Wi-Fi. The app is okay when checking your temperatures. One of the things you'll notice is that when you open up the app, you need to give it about 5 to 10 seconds before it'll actually update your temperatures as far as the probe and the grill temperature. When you first open it up, it takes a little bit longer, and then after you have it open, every time that you go back and check it, even if the app has been running in the background, you still have to give it that 5 seconds to refresh the data. I do wish that it had the ability to trend your temperatures. That is one thing that's kind of unfortunate with it, is that you can't, through their app specifically, you can't have a graph of how the temperature has been, or see the rate of change of how quickly your meat is heating up. So that's one thing I would really like to see Z-Grills update their app to have that functionality, because it wouldn't be much. All that is programming. There's nothing that you have to do with the actual grill for that. like I was saying before, it does boast that it has 1,056 square inches of cooking space. And that is a lot of space. Don't get me wrong. You can grill a lot of stuff on this, but it is a little bit deceptive because, again, you have the 3 racks. And when you actually look a little bit closer into it, you can see that that drip tray does not come all the way to the edge, which it can't because the heat has to come around the drip tray there. And that's on both sides there. So if you place something over the edge of that, it will result in grease or any of your drippings going down into the grill where the firebox is. It's definitely not something you really want. It makes it so you have to spend a lot more time cleaning up. If you keep it within the drip tray, you can just take that aluminum foil off, put a new bit of aluminum foil down, and cleaning for that part is done. I would say, so when I did my racks of ribs, I ran them lengthwise rather than widthwise. And that way I was able to get 2 spare ribs on the bottom and then 3 baby backs on the middle rack. And then the top rack is where I had the smoked mac and cheese. Another thing to be kind of concerned about is around that drip tray, those sides are hotter than the rest of the grill. So if you're cooking something off the edge of that, it is going to get hotter. You're going to have to rotate it a little bit more. When I did my racks of ribs, I did rotate halfway through. I put the baby backs on the bottom and I put the St. Louis or the spare ribs up top. And they ended up finishing right about the same time. But if it was off the edge of that drip tray, it would have cooked a little bit hotter and it would have ended up being done a little bit earlier, maybe even getting a little crispy, which nobody likes on their ribs. But as long as you maintain within that drip tray, cleanup is really easy on this. You just, again, you can pop out that drip tray, pull off the foil, throw that out. Underneath of it, I use a little shop vac to suck out any of the ash in there, but there is a tray on the back that you can just pull out and empty it that way. But you still need to get into that firebox. So to do that, you have to lift up the drip tray, and there's a little baffle that goes on top of it that you have to pull that out, and you can suck the ash and unburnt pellets out of that. Really not hard to do. You don't need a vacuum to actually do it, but it does make it a lot easier. So I would recommend having some sort of a shop vac or something to suck that out. Make sure you let it cool before you do that as well. Another thing that I was pleasantly surprised with is that I didn't know that it came with a cover. It does come with a cover that is specifically made for this grill. So it fits perfectly. There's nothing that you have to do or have to size or anything like that. It just fits perfectly on there and covers the whole thing up. Now I plan on keeping this thing garage kept, and I'll still probably put the cover on there just to keep the dust off. But this thing, I feel that as long as I maintain this thing as well as cleaning up after every cook and keeping it out of the elements with the cover on, this thing is going to last quite a few years. And I would not be surprised if when I get my second grill in 5 years that this thing is still almost brand new. Maintenance on it's super easy. There's a lot of replacement parts that you can find online for very cheap. You can get a replacement burn cup, which is probably the main thing that's going to go bad on it, because that's where you're burning all the pellets. That's where the most heat is. You can get a replacement burn cup for like $25, and you can get a replacement drip tray, which is the thing that has the aluminum foil in there. You can get one of those for about $25 too. So if you take care of it and maintain it, this thing will last quite a few years. Another thing that you can kind of see here in the top, so you can see that I have the felt on there. So that was one thing that I got from Amazon that helps seal it up a little bit. That kind of helps with maintaining temperature, and it kind of helps with holding the smoke into the smoker. A couple of their other grills actually come with that, but this one specifically did not. So I ordered it before it got here, and I put it on before I did my first smoke, and it's worked out great. It definitely cuts down on how much smoke comes out of it, and as I was telling you earlier, maximum temperature swings of about 25 degrees, and that's when you have the door open. So And here it is with the cover on. And again, came with the grill. I was super surprised by that. Most of the times, you know, they'll charge you an extra $50 to $100 for a nice solid cover like this. But they sent it with it free, so I was pleasantly surprised by that. Um, Now, if you do get there's a modification that you can get for this where it has a front rack that comes out that acts as a little table underneath the front handle. I've seen that on both the Z-Grills website, and you can also get it on Amazon for maybe a little bit cheaper, but it's not going to be, you know, their brand, and it's not going to fit exactly probably. If you get something like that, your cover may no longer fit on there, but I think that there's enough wiggle room in there that you would actually be able to still fit the cover over there. It just might not fit quite as nice.